So, recently I finished the 100 Heads Challenge, or the Meds 100 Heads Challenge, and I wanted to share my thoughts and results with all of you. I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of other artists talk about Meds 100 Heads, but if you haven't, I'll give you a little synopsis. This challenge was sort of posed by Ahmed Al-Douri, where you're supposed to draw 100 heads in 10 days, so that's 10 heads per day. I didn't really stick to that because there were days where I was super busy, but I did finish in around 12 days, which is not bad in my opinion. I wanted to do this challenge because I felt that it would be a good way to combat same face syndrome, because I'm always drawing similar faces on my characters and I wanted more facial diversity. I haven't drawn portraits in a long time. Before I started this challenge, the last realistic portrait I drew was probably 2 years ago, and even then it was more stylistically drawn and not with a lot of detail. I feel like I've lost a bit of my realistic skill because I haven't drawn realistically for a long time. I've done observational drawings, but I usually simplify them a lot to be more stylistic, so I think that going back to a more realistic approach would be good for studying something that I haven't really gotten really good at. I was really frustrated with myself for a while, even before this challenge, because I felt like I wasn't improving. I felt like last year was a total stagnant year for my artistic development, whereas compared to previous years, I felt really good about my progress. So this year, I really want to catalyst myself into a greater progression of my artistic skill and abilities, which is why I did the 100 Heads Challenge, and why I'll probably be doing more art marathons like this in the future, including the 500 Hand Challenge. But it sounds like a lot, so I don't know where we're gonna go with that one. I picked up the term art marathon from Robin Sealark, who is also another YouTuber, after watching her videos where she does marathons like this, where she paints for example, 40 pictures in a day or something crazy like that. And it's really inspired me in a way. As someone who frequently burns out and then gets bursts of energy where I draw for a week straight and then burn out again, I really admire other people's capacity to do this and succeed. In the past, I've tried doing art marathons or challenges like this, and I've always sort of just stopped in the middle, or, just put it down and never picked it back up. And I've always felt really guilty about that. I've tried Inktober before for 2 years. I tried it like 2 times, and I barely got past the first few days both times. And I've tried doing series, and I've tried doing prompt challenges, and nothing seemed to stick. I felt really discouraged after that because I felt like I did not complete something that I set out to do, and that's not a very good feeling. But I finished this, and I'm really proud of myself for that. And even though I had to take 2 extra days, I finished it. So, it's about completion. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to do it as long as you complete it. I think that I was able to finish this one compared to the other ones because it was easy in terms of the external work that I had to do, because Ahmed already had a whole Pinterest board ready and a set guideline to follow, and all I had to do was go onto Pinterest, go to the board, and draw 10 heads a day. I didn't have to search for any heads. I didn't have to go and do my own research. It was all there for me. So by figuring out that this is what has stopped me from completing these things in the past, which is the external barrier of research that takes extra mental energy, which I haven't calculated in before, by knowing this, I can adjust accordingly and take a day off to maybe have all the research done beforehand, so that when the time comes to actually do the challenge, I will have everything ready and all I have to do is draw. I think this year I want to focus on streamlining my process, streamlining my sketching process and my workflow so that I can get the most out of everything I do. That's my cat. I can get the most out of everything I do instead of like ending the day feeling like all I did was go on Tumblr the whole time and I didn't do anything productive art-wise. That's a big issue for me, which is social media. I posted some of these head drawings on my Instagram, but I don't know if I want to post them to Twitter. I feel like not a lot of people post things like this to Twitter. My cat's calling me. If I do post these things to Twitter, I will put it in one big thread so people can see them all. But yeah, I don't really see people posting sketches on Twitter, so I'm not too sure, because I've only been on Twitter for since the beginning of 2019. I literally just made it so that I could, because of the Tumblr apocalypse. Anyway, one thing that I am posting to Twitter is my February sketches. So while I'm doing the 100 heads challenge and the 500 hands challenge soon, I'm also doing February, which is a daily drawing challenge by Croquis Cafe, which I'm also sort of catching up on intermittently. Anyway, I should probably talk about what I learned while doing this challenge. Because it was such a short period of time and because it was a limited study, obviously I didn't improve overnight, but I did learn some things. I got more confident in my portrait drawing, and I learned how to draw more confident lines instead of hiding everything under sketch lines. And I also learned that I usually make the faces a bit too long in the nose area. I don't know where I picked that up from, but now I know what to fix something if it looks off. I think noses were the hardest part for me. I love drawing eyes, but it's noses that really mess me up because they're so... If you don't get them symmetrical, they look really, really bad. It's really hard to draw people. It really is, but you can't improve unless you put in the work, right? One of my favorite pieces of advice is that for every 100 crappy drawings, you're going to make one amazing drawing. But if you never get those 100 crappy ones out, you're never going to get that amazing drawing. And I feel like that's pretty accurate. You have to draw the bad ones first in order to get out the good ones later down the line, which is why I feel these art marathons are so inspiring to me. You know, at this point, it really is just about quantity first for me, and then sifting through that quantity for the quality that I'm wanting to achieve out of my art, because if I focus on quality, I feel like I'm just going to get paralyzed by the inadequacy that I perceive, if that makes sense. So yeah, now I'm going to flip through my sketchbook and show you all of the finished 100 heads that I did over 12 days. I really like, actually in the beginning I really didn't like any of them to be honest with you. I really like this one because of the way that the shadows were very intense on that one. I think I like the male, I call them ugly old man sculptures, more than I like the portraits of regular people, because they had more rigid shape design and better lighting. That was, you know, like this was a good sculpture because it had a very nice lighting to it. This one's not too bad. I really like this one as well. I like the simplicity of it because it, like the way that the hair really went with the face. You can tell some of these have their numbers crossed out because I messed up the numbering and I had to go back and redo all of them. This one's really good because of the proportions were very well done compared to the other ones, at least. And I think this one is like, I don't want to butcher his name, like Jimin or something, from that K-pop group. I'm not big into K-pop, so I don't really know their names. I like this one. You can tell the ones I like are the ones with really defined shadows, because those are the easiest to do. I like this one. I don't know what happened with this one. I can't draw his face. And this one was good. And this one, it didn't have a lot of shadow, but where it did, you can see that it's very intense, and that dichotomy of bright white and really dark black was very nice. These are my last ones. I really only like this one. These ones I had kind of a hard time with. And then I didn't record this one. I did record it, but then it got blurry, so I couldn't show you guys that one. I'm sorry. But you can tell. Here, I'll flip back to the beginning. So, it's the beginning one. The last one was actually a redraw of this first one. So, you can see the difference. Yeah. So by the time I actually got here, I was more focused on the line work than I was on the shading, and I think that it really got me to a better place of understanding the forms and the planes of the face. So yeah, my next challenge will be the 500 hand challenge, which I don't even know how I'm going to be able to do that, but I have a few days before my classes start, so we'll see how far we can get. Thanks for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next one if I survive. Goodbye!